So what role does Pam Bondi play? What role could she possibly be playing in this rise of fascism? And I was thinking about the legalist loyalist. There's this group of individuals throughout history that lend legitimacy but also defend the chaotic nature of fascism behind the veil of legalism. And I think that that's Pam Bondi to a T. I'm not shy about calling a Nazi, but I like to hold back a little bit, and I was holding back a little bit on Pam Bondi. Lady AG, Attorney General Pam Bondi, but not anymore. What's up, Johnny Vegan Seed? How you doing? Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here for After Dark. We're talking about the Pam Bondi hearings. Did you see him? Wowzer. Quite the thing. Did you enjoy it? So I wanted to talk about a guy named Roberto Farinacci. I want to talk about this guy, Roberto Farinacci. You ever hear of him? I don't know if you've heard of him, but he was... You didn't watch her, Johnny Vegan Seed? Oh, man. Oof. You gotta watch, baby. The highlight. We'll cover it tomorrow on the Morning Sky show. I'm sure, because that's all anybody will be talking about. It's hard to watch. I've been kind of depressed today watching it, actually. And I can't help but have thought of Roberto Farinacci. There he is standing next to his Donald Trump, Benito Mussolini. There he is right there, Benito Mussolini. And they're all doing their little flag salute. They're doing their little Roman salute, as they called it back then. I guess we're calling it that now, too, when Elon Musk does it or Steve Bannon does it. We call it a Roman salute now. He called it a Roman salute. He was the one that made that popular. He said they used to do this in Rome, and I'm the new Roman leader. So Il Duce, the leader of Rome, shall be greeted as such with a hand raised to such a degree. The Roman salute. Hitler really liked it, so he adopted it too. There he is wearing his little his Hitler logo. They all flew under one flag. So Roberto Farinacci, he was born in 1892. He died in 1945. It's a good year to die for a Nazi. One of the most extreme and violent leaders of the Italian fascist movement. But he wasn't one of those guys that was like a primary theorist or anything like that. He was really big during the chaotic years. It's always really chaotic in the beginning of fascism. And since fascism didn't even have a name yet, all they really did, they didn't, like, Benito Mussolini hadn't even named the fascist movement when you had these guys. He was what they called a Ross. A Ross, like in Friends, except even more of an asshole. Basically a local fascist strongman who would go around kicking the shit out of socialists, labor organizers, newspaper offices, or political opponents of people who were Antifa, basically. But they didn't have Antifa back then. They didn't even have the FA, right? There weren't any teams yet. It was still pretty early. There were just like squad leaders, and Farinacci was one of them. There he is, standing right next to Benito Mussolini, looking like a squad leader. He oversaw the beatings. He supported castor oil punishments. Which castor oil punishment, if you don't know what that is, Farinacci was really into it. He would take castor oil and shove it down people's throats and make them shit themselves so that everyone could laugh and make fun of them. I don't know. Does it seem like are you noticing anything? Are you noticing anything similar? This humiliation from people in power. He thought violence was unfortunate. It's always unfortunate when violence erupts, but he thought it was necessary. Does that sound familiar? Do I have to ask you if it sounds familiar? Roberto Farinacci, he thought that it just was an unfortunate thing that had to happen sometimes. Ain't that a bitch? In 1925, after Mussolini consolidated power, Farinacci was appointed secretary of the Nationalist Fascist Party, the National Fascist Party, and he became the institutionalizer. It's kind of like how certain people they work for the man, and then they get into power and they get a special title, a really important title. He trained the thugs, the people beating people in the street, but then he trained the public. He took fascism from being a street movement and he turned it into a disciplined party apparatus, the type of guy you could go to make sure that his loyalty was always to Mussolini, not to the people of Italy, not to any rule of law. He would say it was the rule of law, of course, and that violence was a necessary and an unfortunate thing. But here we are.